Hola. Today we're going to talk some more about subject pronouns, just to review and try to just make sure that you understand this concept because it's very foundational to your study of Spanish. So to get started first, let's review subject pronouns in English. Subject pronouns in English are I, you, he, and she. Those are the singular ones, and the plural ones are we, y'all, and they. We don't really technically have the word y'all in English. If you're from the North, you might say you guys. But Spanish has a word for y'all that's legitimate. So let's look at the Spanish forms of these subject pronouns. In Spanish, you would say yo for I, tú, and usted. We have two words in Spanish that mean you. This one, the tú, is informal, and usted is the formal one. And él and ella are he and she. Spanish has two forms of the subject pronoun we, nosotros, masculine plural, nosotras, feminine plural. And then there's the word ustedes for y'all in Spanish. And then you also have two forms of the word they in Spanish. You have ellos, which is the masculine and plural, and ellas, which is the feminine and plural. So now let's just look at the two charts side by side and just see the differences and similarities. Again, you in English, in Spanish, there are two different words, tú and usted, informal and formal. In Spanish, there are two words for we, nosotros and nosotras. And there are two words for they, ellos and ellas. Remember, the ones that end in as in Spanish are for only females, groups of females, and the ones that end in os are for groups of either all males or a mixture of males and females. So now let's do some practice. Which subject pronoun would you use if you're talking about yourself? Well, in English, the sentence might look like this: I am a student. So the subject pronoun we used is I. In Spanish, then, the equivalent would be yo. So in Spanish, you would say yo soy estudiante. Yo soy, because soy means am, estudiante. What about if you were talking to your best friend? Well, in English, you would say you are a student. The subject pronoun you used was you. And in Spanish, you would use the subject pronoun tú, because tú is the informal one. It's the one you would use with your best friend. So the sentence in Spanish is tú eres estudiante. What if you wanted to say to your teacher, you are a teacher, talking to your teacher? Well, the word in English is still you, but Spanish has a special word for someone that you need to show a respect, or just they're older than you, they have more authority than you. So in Spanish, you would say, usted es profesora. Or you could say profesor for a male teacher. How about if you're talking about Samuel? The sentence would look like this: he is a student. We're talking about Samuel. He is a student. In English, it's he, and the subject pronoun for he in Spanish is él. So in Spanish, you would say, él es estudiante. Él es estudiante. What about if you're talking about Samantha, not Samuel? Well, in English, we would say she is a student, and in Spanish, you would say ella. Ella es estudiante. Ella es estudiante. Which subject pronoun would you use if you're talking about Sam and I? Sam and I. Well, in English, you would say we are students. The subject pronoun we used is we. And in Spanish, you would use nosotros, because Sam is a guy, and we don't know the gender of I, but we know that Sam is a guy. We're going to use nosotros, the masculine form of that, which is the one that you default to if you're not sure whether it's all guys or all girls, you would use nosotros. In Spanish, then you would have nosotros somos estudiantes. Which subject pronoun would you use if you're talking to Sam and you? So in other words, you want to say, Sam and you, y'all are students. Well, English y'all, but in Spanish, there's an authentic word, ustedes, ustedes. So you would say, ustedes son estudiantes. Those of you who are getting accustomed to using vosotros, you could use vosotros here as well. But in most languages where Spanish is spoken, or most countries where Spanish is spoken, they use the word ustedes for both formal and informal. So, ustedes son estudiantes is a good way to express this. So, how about if you're talking about Sam and Paul? In English, you could say they are students. They is the subject pronoun. So in Spanish, you would use ellos because Sam and Paul are both guys. So you have to use the masculine plural form. Ellos son estudiantes. What about if you're talking about Jane and Jen, both girls? In English, you'd still use they. They are students. But in Spanish, since you know they're both females, you will use ellas. Ellas son estudiantes. Okay. So that's a quick review of subject pronouns. And after you've watched this, then I want you to go on in the Nearpod and take the quizzes that follow and check to see if your comprehension is good. If you need to, you can go back to this video and stop it in between. And certainly if you have questions, please message me through It's Learning to ask me more questions. Adios.